All right, everybody, welcome to the Direct Response Podcast. On today's show, we have Brandon Bardwell, our special guest. He is a e-commerce founder and operator. He has a few years of experience, done a few $1 million in sales, and he really knows what's up when it comes to e-commerce. So Brandon, please give us an introduction. Tell us, some things we don't know about you, and we'll take it away.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. It's cool. I don't know. So like the 30,000-foot view of me, the LinkedIn bio, I started with dropshipping, e-com in 2018, but didn't have any real significant success until 2020 when I had my first legit offer that went well. I had a real competitive advantage then because I was using the 3-step funnel we all know, way back then. Wow. And everybody and their dog uses that funnel now, but then
sorry to interrupt. This was 2020 that you started using it?
Yes. Yep.
Wow. So you've been at it for a long time.
Yeah. My minor claim to fame is some of the elements that everybody recycles, that a couple of sections from the neuro template and stuff are things that I made in ClickFunnels way back in the day, which is cool. They're obviously way better than what I made now, but yeah, so that was 2020, did well. I've had 3 major offers that did well that I scaled to between 100 and my best was 450K a month volume. So
amazing. So you're pretty experienced with funnels and direct response. Now, when it comes to the advertisements you were you doing the VSL ads, or was it just the funnel that was advanced?
No, so the VSLs and really leaning hard into a lot of the DR stuff, at least from the advertising perspective, is new to me. So I really dug into that, and VSLs in particular, at the very end of last year and this year. So those old ads from whatever the range is, 20 to 23, were more of the drop shipping as seen on TV, pay and agitate solution, UGC style.
Understood. And what niches were you focused on? Was there a pattern? Is there a specific one you liked the most?
Yeah, my first breakthrough was in, I call it beauty, but really it's kind of a hybrid between women's fitness and beauty. And that's what worked for me, and I just kind of stuck with it. So
women's aesthetics.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got it. And I mean, I'm sure you have experience in other niches as well. Do you find there's a difference between that niche and something like pain relief, health, supplements? Is there anything that sticks out to you when selling to women, women's beauty, women's aesthetics?
Yeah, for sure. I think that as a general principle, once you start to understand sophistication, that really, I think, is the key to translating between different niches, offers, any of it. Because if you get the sophistication part wrong, everything else can be right, but it doesn't work.
Yeah,
at least from my experience.
Yeah, I have the same experience. That's the biggest thing to look out for, because that's the starting point of everything. So you said you got into VSLs towards the end of last year, and why? What made you get into it? What attracted you to it? Why did you believe it was a good idea to go into it?
Yeah, so I had there was a repeating pattern with all of the offers that I ran and made some volume with. So I had this cycle, basically. I realized that it was always finding a winning product or winning offer, which I don't know about the term anymore, but it's I would do that. I'd find something that worked. I would scale it super hard, and then it would die, and I'd have to start all over. And we can get into the specifics of that and what it looked like. But I was really tired of feeling like I had no direct control over whether or not a product or offer worked. It was basically just everyone was a lottery ticket, and you just try as much as you possibly could to try to find something that won, and I was sick of it.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. And I think everyone who's done e-commerce, certainly outside of the VSL game, has had that same experience, because you have very little control, because you have very little understanding, right, of what goes into the ad. And that brings up my next point is, when you started to get into the direct response game, specifically for VSLs, I mean, I know you were into it before. What did you do to learn VSLs to get really good at them? to just become, the master that you are today?
Master is a bit of a stretch, but really, I mean, not to shamelessly plug, but like your school group is super helpful, because I think one danger when trying to learn VSLs or any direct response period is like, what I've generally found is the people who are the best in the world really kind of fall in love with copywriting, where like they love the art form of it, which is great. And it's fun. I share that to some degree, but like often they get kind of lost in the sauce, right? Where it's like they go so deep into all these principles and structures and formats and templates. And it's like, ultimately, the reason that we do this is to make money, to persuade people to purchase something. And a lot of high level copywriters aren't business owners. And so you are great, or work great for me to learn from, because you approach it from like, we're doing this to get sales for our products.
Yeah. It's more practical, right? It's a little more grounded.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate the endorsement. That is very good to hear. And I had that same experience, because I love it as well. I love the game. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's in the context of business is what gives it value. So I had the same experience talking to and learning from a lot of the really talented guys who were, granted, super good at what they do, but it wasn't grounded in business. It was just copy for the sake of copy. So that makes a lot of sense to me. That's kind of why I asked, because that's the trap a lot of people get into. And so now we're in a new age where pretty much every serious brand or offer is running VSLs, is running the 3-step funnel. So we all have kind of the same, very similar economics, especially in the same niches. So what do you think? Because of course that's not sustainable, right? It's not like VSLs are going to be super profitable forever. It's a matter of what the market's doing. What do you think is going to be the next thing? What do you think is going to be the next differentiator that can get you into a better position in the auction?
It's a really good question. And something I've thought about somewhat. We'll see whether or not this is accurate, but like, I think we're going to go through a really weird transitionary period where we can't trust anything, and that's going to be really difficult to navigate and figure out from a business perspective, but also like societally, because you have,
just to clarify, you mean that the consumers, the viewers of the ads, because of AI, won't know what is real and what is
correct
created?
So like my knee-jerk reaction to that is like more authentic, like human driven advertising. But I think that with AI video, I think like in the micro, that'll probably be it, where it's like a lot of honest endorsement that seems authentic by somebody who looks like they purchased the product and had a good experience. But a step further, I think that it's going to be so easy to make fake ones that you can't tell the difference between. That it's going to get weird. And really, I think that like the people who figure out what to do and how to differentiate after that are really going to take the cake.
Yeah, I think it's a case of, it's kind of hard to predict, right? Because these changes are usually the ones that nobody can predict. So I'm in the same boat. I don't really know what it's going to be. I'm just trying to do the best that I can to stay ahead. But that brings me to the next topic, which is something that you're pretty well versed in, which is AI. So there's so many use cases for AI as it applies to our business, because there's so many different aspects to it. There's the video side, the image side, the graphics, the copy, the scripts. Where are you right now using AI the most, and where are you seeing it have the biggest like 80-20 impact?
Definitely for copywriting and visuals, right? So AI video production, clips, B-roll, hooks, and then writing the copy itself. But you have to be, I think that's what everybody else is doing. So you have to be tactical and use the tools in a very specific way to get a good output.
So I want to go into those two one by one, the copy side and the visual side, because I think they're both huge. And I think it's like a whole revolution happening in marketing. The quantity of creative production is just insane, what's possible now. So let's start with the copy side. I like what you said, that it's becoming, it's completely available to everyone, right? And it's very low cost. So it comes down to, how are you prompting it, and what is your input right, to get out of it. And I found that, the better I can make the templates, the structures, my instructions, the better results it's giving me. So I have VSLs that are pure AI that are winning. I'm sure you have the same, whereas other people struggle to get good quality anything from it. So when it comes to that, how do you approach that? How do you make it so that the responses that AI is giving you are, unique to you in a way? Have your quality imbued in them?
Yeah. So I think it's a matter of, if you understand a little bit under the hood of how an AI works, and this is a layman's understanding. I'm not a computer engineer.
Well, your layman's understanding is probably like an expert for us. So I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So AI really, it's very sophisticated. And it feels like it's intelligent. And we're so used to prompting it with language. Like, that's the beauty of it. But that's not how AI works underneath. It's still a program, right? And so the best results that I have are by speaking to it and giving it instructions in a more mathematical way that looks more like code rather than instructions based in human language.
So it's less of a conversation and more like a programming almost.
Yeah. And you just, rather than a formula for a probability statistic or something, like, you swap the variables are pieces of copy or elements that you want to emulate.
And are you are you finding use in AI writing everything? How much is it responsible for? Are you giving it the template? Are you giving it the copy blocks, the sections to write? Or are you just, giving it a little bit more room to roam?
It depends. Overall, I would say that it's probably 90% AI, but the last 10% are very important. Like, it's really, really easy for AI to lose the thread, and like, the context gets lost. So it can follow a template, but write it in the wrong way. And the high level ideas still need to come from a person, in my experience.
So I agree. And what are those main ideas for you? For me, it's like the mechanisms, the big problem, the kind of underlying premises, those big elements that I need to give it. What about for you? What are those things that that you need to provide?
Yeah, I see it the same way. So it's the big ones in direct response. So it's generally like a description of your product that's accurate. It's the UMP, it's the UMS. The metaphors are big too. I've noticed it's not great at generating metaphors that make sense. And then positioning, kind of like, if you want to include an offer in your VSL, like a, buy two, get one, discount percentages, whatever, those need to be explicitly stated in my experience.
And it's funny you say that about the metaphors, because I've had the same issue. I have to provide it with the metaphors because that's one thing that it struggles with. And I think you're referring to when you want to create a visualization of one of the mechanisms or the underlying functioning of the problem or the situation. It's very useful to have a metaphor, and I've had the same experience. Now, on the visual side, moving on to that, are you using it to create avatars? Are you using it for voice? Are you using it for hooks and leads, for B-roll scenes? What do you like it for?
Yeah, so all of our, I think, well, yeah, now 100% of the audio, the voiceovers are all AI. I've actually split test paying a creator pretty heavily, and I've found that on average that performs worse, which was a surprise to me. But it's nice for the economics, I suppose. And the visuals are interesting. Just this week, actually, I made an automation to really, really quickly generate a whole video's worth of AI B-roll in just a couple minutes. But I haven't had those produced and tested. I'm guessing that not making it 100% AI generated is going to be like a 50-50, 80-20 split, whatever is going to be the ticket. And what else? That covers it, really. I mean, we usually
leads into a next question I have, which I forgot to ask for the copy side, but what are your favorite tools, right? I'm sure a lot of people are wondering. Everyone's always asking because there's new ones all the time and there's new models coming out. What do you like for copy? And then what do you like for your visuals?
Creative writing, I find Claude is the best, generally speaking. For research, I prefer ChatGPT. So if I want to get a bunch of data for my UMPs, UMSs, whatever, I use ChatGPT for that. Use Claude generally for the writing. Grok is actually pretty good. I've recently discovered if you want to generate prompts. So if you want to make prompts for other tasks, Grok is pretty solid. And the image and video gen honestly changes so much. Like we started with Luma and used Flux, and then Mid-Journey had a little bit of time. I don't know. Right now, we're actually using Imagine 4 a lot for the images because it's pretty affordable through the API if you want to do an automation. The results are solid. And then video for like bulk tasks is actually forget what it's called, Seed Dance, Byte Dance, the TikTok generator one.
Yeah, ByteDance is the company.
Yeah. And then if we need like a really accurate, realistic one, it's VO3. If we want some specific, like kind of weird, like we're trying to make a visual demonstration of a metaphor, right? Kling gets a lot of use also.
Okay, so you're using a variety of different tools.
Yeah.
With AI.
Yes.
And I'm assuming for voice, you're doing 11 Labs or something similar.
Yep. The AI influencers are not something that I have a lot of experience with. I've tested it a little bit, but they're so expensive and it's very, like I'm big on fast production.
Yeah.
And if you want to add in an AI avatar, it really slows things down.
Agreed. I have the same experience. So while I appreciate you sharing all those tools, I think I found that very valuable. I'm going to review that, and I think a lot of people will as well. So now I'd like to go a little more practical into what you're doing in your business now, obviously without giving away details, without giving away anything you're not comfortable with. But what does your business look like in terms of your team? Do you have a business partner? Do you have managers? Do you have executives? What do you got under?
No, so I'm one of the few people it seems like in ecom that's kind of anti-partner, not anti, but for me, anti-partner. Our team is really lean. So we have a head video editor, a junior video editor that's part-time basically, and a content manager and myself. So
nice.
Yeah, just 3 people. I think overhead right now is the majority of our overhead is AI cost, like tool cost. It's kind of crazy, but I think overhead's between 5 and 10K.
Okay, nice. So you're running pretty lean.
Yeah.
So you have a simple operation. And what are you responsible for? What are you spending most of your time doing? Is it on the copy side? What is it?
Yeah, I would say on a good day, it's copy. On a bad day, it's managing people. But it probably 80% copy and the rest is like high level stuff, right? So finding what our next thing is going to be, what angles we're going to test, what the overall direction is going to be in the business. Like, do we want to swap to a different niche? What kind of offers are we going to find? Do we want to focus on branding? Whatever.
Yeah, understood. I'm in a similar position. Now, when it comes to your offers, do you have like a hero offer? Do you have multiple offers? Are you across niches? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, for us, it's still hero offers about 80% is the main one with a, high AOV. I'm really pushing to diversify because I've just felt a lot of instability lately where performance is up, down. And like, I hate the constant scrambling to find winning creative. And I think that diversifying across more offers is the ticket and maybe changing the economic model a little bit.
And by that, do you mean boosting the LTV, adding subscription, something like that?
Yeah, I'm very curious about subscriptions because I think that the power of being able to scale on a 1 ROAS is pretty insane. And you minimize a lot of that instability when you have rebills.
100%. I mean, that's the dream, to be able to run at 1 ROAS. I know a couple guys doing 7 figures, 8 figures a month with 1 ROAS, which blows my mind because they have the Amazon, the LTV, the subscriptions. So that's the promised land where I think we're all working towards it after we've reached a certain amount of scale with the just pure cash flow, because you can't really skip that step if you don't have a ton of capital, in my experience. Now, when it comes to ads, are you doing VSL and image? Are you doing UGC? What does your ad deck look like?
It's 100% VSL right now. So everybody talks about image ads, and I tried them from a lot of different times and just never been able to make it stick.
Mhm.
And I think that if I really hammered on it, we'd probably make it work. But I just don't think that's a huge leverage thing.
Right.
I'm good at writing VSLs. The team is really used to producing them.
Mhm.
So we're just kind of hammering them.
Yeah. And where did you find your team? Are they from Asia? Are they Philippines? Are they?
Yeah.
How long have they been with you?
I think overall it's been 8 months now.
Okay.
Yeah. So my head video editor is actually from Pakistan, and then the other two are from the Philippines. I found the guy from the Pakistan on Upwork, which is the only good hire I think I've ever made on Upwork.
Yeah.
Usually it stinks.
And
And then
had the same experience. Yeah.
yeah, then the other two are all my jobs.
Understood. And are you testing new offers now, or are you testing new offers? And if so, are they in different niches? I know you said you want to diversify, but what does that look like? Are you actively testing?
Yeah. So we actually just launched a new product test this morning, and its niche is similar. So rather than just women's aesthetics, beauty, whatever, kind of a broader health thing. So a lot of consumable stuff based on my interest of subscriptions. So
Nice. Does that include supplements? Just pure supplement offers? Okay.
Yeah.
And are you doing that white label manufactured in the USA?
I don't, to be honest with you, I'm just trying to find something that shows promise, and then I'm going to make sure that I have a way to either fulfill early ads, early orders, or I'll just take orders and then cancel them once something shows promise, and then I'll worry about the production part of it.
Oh. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little tired, Brandon.
Oh, good, man.
Busy couple of days. But I think the supplements are definitely a way to go. If you have the direct response expertise, you can take that customer acquisition power and put it into something with a little more juice, a little more LTV. So that could be one evolution of the industry, is people going more toward consumables over the physical products, right? The one-time sale products. Now, are you doing anything in terms of LTV? Are you taking email seriously? Are you pushing for multiple orders?
No, I really think the structure right now is LTV and AOV are basically the same thing, right? So it's all just pushing really hard for high AOV. And a lot of that comes from our upsells. Our main upsell is very, very solid. And yeah, we don't have a lot of repeat purchases. I really neglect email because with Funnelish, we don't have an email capture. And I used to have a mid-funnel email capture, and it worked fine, but it seems like it adds a little too much friction now.
Yeah.
So
now that you mentioned your upsells, and that's something I want to talk about because I think it's a huge part of the whole offer is the upsell flow. So if you don't mind sharing, what does your upsell flow look like? Do you use VSL upsells? What does it look like in terms of pricing compared to your one unit? How do you structure it?
Yeah. So our first primary upsell is an upgraded version of the first thing that they bought. And that's VSL based. Nice. And so that purchase price is actually higher than any of the options on the front end. So AOV for the front end is about 170, and the upgrade is 189. And we have about a 35% take rate.
Wow.
So that boosts overall AOV to between 260 and 280, which is huge.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason that we've been able to compete and stay afloat through a lot of these ups and downs is because, with an AOV that high, our margin is really, really healthy.
Yeah.
And then there's a secondary, post an OTO2, basically, where this particular product has a companion consumable. And so there's just a bundle discount on that.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I would say that in my experience, when a product has an AOV like that, people are way more willing to buy more because they're so much more committed and they've shown a lot more trust to themselves. You know, they've committed to their choice. So I think that there's definitely a door open for some LTV stuff if you're interested in doing that. But that's amazing. So that's a huge AOV. So you've done a really good job with your funnel then, with your bundles and with your upsells. How many upsells do you have outside? You know, you have the first one, which is an upgrade, a VSL, and then do you have more after that?
Yeah, so the second one, I probably wasn't very clear there. So after first one, device upgrade, there's second upsell, which is just that consumable. Yep.
So you got the 2 upsells.
2 upsells, yeah.
Okay, amazing. And are you running on other channels? Have you tested native, YouTube, Google search?
No, so that, I mean, we have your standard like Google retargeting campaign, but no serious pursuit in other ad avenues, which is also another thing that's a big focus for me, because same thing, diversification. Being super reliant on only Facebook with only one main product is fragile, no matter how good you are, I think.
Yeah. So moving towards diversification, you're using AI, you have your hero offer now, and you're testing the supplement stuff. So I think you're covering every base. You're covering ground really well. Now, when it comes to the back end of the business, in terms of your infrastructure, so your Facebook ad accounts, your payment processing, your customer service, what does that look like for you? And if you can, go into a little bit, whatever you feel comfortable sharing about how you set that up and how you manage that, because I know that's an issue for a lot of people.
Yeah. So we constantly swap back and forth between private BM setups with an infrastructure where basically you're using a lot of different profiles and accounts to minimize your risk and avoid bans as much as possible. And it seems kind of seasonal. So we swap between that kind of setup and agency accounts, where sometimes agency is easier and performs better. Sometimes the private version is better.
Mm-hmm.
And then customer service is I spend a lot of time investing in actually paying attention to the customers early. Mm-hmm. So I looked at what all of the common complaints were, what our returns were about, disputes, or whatever. And then I found I templated a whole library of very specific flows and responses to actually listen to these people, help them as much as possible, minimize refunds. And so we only have one. I guess I didn't add my customer service rep as part of the team, but she is.
And she's a laggard on the team.
Yeah.
Okay, so so that's the approach I prefer and I recommend. And it sounds like you really dialed in your customer service yourself, and you really put the effort and the focus in to get those responses down and get those macros dialed in. So I'm assuming you don't have a huge issue with refunds, chargebacks, that kind of stuff.
We did beforehand. That's what motivated me. I did the crazy thing. I actually sat down and called a bunch of our customers to ask, like, what's wrong? All the stuff. And now it's at a reasonable rate. I don't want to do the thing where you promise a guarantee and then you don't actually return it because there's all these hidden terms and stuff.
You have to return it to Antarctica and then China. Yeah. So what did you find? I mean, I think this could be valuable to dig into. What did you find were the most common types of complaints? Was it the shipping time? Was it the product quality? What the expectations? What did you see was the most common, issue or main issues that were leading to refunds and chargebacks?
The biggest one front end is like, what's your initial expectation that you're setting for the customer and the way that you're selling the product? And that's the hardest one to crack, because if you're making a more legitimate, more reasonable, this is going to take time. It's going to be a little bit of work. You're going to have to do these other habits to get the result. Right. The quality of customer is way higher, but it's way harder to be profitable that way, which is unfortunate, but it's just the truth.
Yeah.
And honestly, we're in like a middle ground where I'm not completely satisfied with how aggressive our messaging is, but it is what it is. And then as far as like I think as long as people feel like you care and you didn't screw them over, they're a lot more willing to work with you. So that's
Yeah.
like the touch points post-purchase, just automated, answering questions really quickly. And we have, I mean, it took me 2 or 3 days to make some free like video courses with AI and give people access with the QR code on the back of the product, just small stuff like that, which isn't worth pursuing if you're just starting out, to be clear. Like, don't do that on the front end.
Do that for every offer you test.
Yeah. Spend 3 months in prep.
Yeah. Now, I've had that same experience, exactly what you described, you know, being aggressive, scaling, and then having a flood of issues with customer service, and then going really deep into it and super nuanced and figuring it out. Now, one issue I had during that time was with my payment processing, was getting pretty unhappy with it, and I started to get some holds and stuff. So that leads us into payment processing. If you could talk about that, you know, what does your structure look like? What is your philosophy on payment processing? And did you have issues with it in the past?
Oh yeah, I've had loads of issues. I still, right now, even we have quite a bit of money on hold, but like, I think the sooner that you can accept that that's just a reality of the business, the better off.
Excuse me.
All good. The better off you'll be. So we don't use Stripe or PayPal. It's all third-party mids. And you know, that's a relationship with a specific bank. They have their terms, what you can say, what you can't say. And that's just how it's going to be. And they're going to change. Like, they always have the power. So I think the biggest thing, especially if you're early, is you need to save capital, you know, because if you, for the first time, you're making 10K or 20K or 30K a month and you start living large, like progress always is up and then down and then up and then down. You always get smacked around.
We always expect it's like just going to keep on going.
Yeah. Not linear at all.
No. So that, you know, as you're a wise old man and a very, you know, we're a young industry. A lot of the guys in the group and in the audience are younger, you know, early 20s, mid 20s. Sorry, how old are you again?
30.
Ooh, you've been around.
I'm a grandpa, dude.
You've seen the dinosaurs. You've been around.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you're a young man, but like compared to our industry, as you know, it's a kind of a Wild West frontier. So it attracts a lot of young people, a lot of ambitious entrepreneurial people, and you know, a lot of similar issues. I've dealt with them. So many people I've talked to who are also younger have dealt with them. The overspending, the not taking the budgeting seriously, the kind of, you know, and I'm not just talking about the personal extravagance. I'm talking about even in business, you know, not taking the finances seriously, not taking payment processing and the infrastructure side as seriously. What advice would you give, you know, from a more mature perspective, if someone's coming into this business, they have the talent for marketing, they're good at making money, they're interested in it, but you know, as you know, that there's these common pitfalls that if someone's immature, they're even more likely to fall into them. So what advice would you give? How would you tell someone like that to approach the business?
The first is kind of just like your bog standard emergency fund thing, but applied to business, right? So ideally, you're going to have 6 months worth of operating expense in the bank that you don't touch at all times. Getting to that road, like getting to that is one of the hardest things in business, I think, because like you're fighting everything. Cash flow is hard in the beginning. You need to scale. You need to find processors. You can't. There's whole, you know, it's tough. And then from an individual perspective after that, I think it depends on how much you're willing to invest. Like, it's good to do like the expense tracking and stuff, but a lot of people just aren't going to do that. And so rather than not doing anything, just keep a daily P&L and cut your profit in half and assume that's how much you're actually making and plan accordingly. And you're going to think, there's no way I'm only making half. And then you'll go and you'll look at your bank statements and it'll be about right.
Yeah. I've had that experience for sure. Well, that's some pretty great advice. And I appreciate you sharing that. I hope some of the younger guys are listening because I was in that boat. I started pretty young and a little bit wild. and I didn't have the discipline. So it's hard to hold on to the money. And when you can't hold on to the money and you can't build sustainably, it's hard to, really grow consistently. You're going to be in the up and down. Even if you're making a lot of money, even if you're doing multiple six figures a month, you're doing thousands of dollars a day, it's going to be hard to grow sustainably. So I appreciate your seasoned perspective on that. So that about wraps up more of the technical and practical kind of questions I have. I appreciate, you sharing everything that you have. I think it's very valuable. We've covered a lot of different stuff. And yeah, I'm glad that you joined the community, you joined the school group, and you've been very helpful in there as well. So we appreciate your expertise. We appreciate your time. Now, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, I mean, are you even open to that?
Yeah, no, I actually, I love helping people and just talking about the business. Like everybody, I've thought about the personal branding thing and just never done it. I should have a call out, like a CTA.
Yeah,
that would be good DR principles. I don't
100%,
but I don't know. Maybe I'll comment on this video when you put it on YouTube or something, and people can reach out. Sounds good.
That sounds good. Well, Brandon, that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining me and for sharing this wisdom with all of the audience. I appreciate it, and hopefully one day, you'll return and you'll have bigger and better stories to share with us. And maybe a new head of hair as well. Who knows?
Yep. Once I hit those $1 million days, I'll get a
you'll
wig.
come back from Turkey and you'll be a whole new man.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate it. Take care. Have a good one and take it easy.
Likewise, you too, man. Thank you.
Thank you.